Thank you for joining us on Flipside today. I'm Daisy Liu as Sikidi, and today we're going to be focusing on girls, the girl child. And adolescent girls have the right to a safe, educated, and healthy life, not only during this critical formative years, but also as they mature into women. If effectively supported during the adolescent years, girls have the potential to change the world, both as the empowered girls of today and as tomorrow's workers, tomorrow's mothers, entrepreneurs, mentors, household heads, and political leaders. So, to focus on the girl child is very important, and that's why every 11th day of October, the United Nations has made it an International Day of the Girl Child. And this year's theme is Girls' Vision for the Future. So joining me on today's show talking about Girls' Vision for the Future is Comrade Grace Obakina. She's a woman who has been unrelenting in her quest to making a difference and joining in raising the voices of women in society. She's the Executive Director of Caring Hearts Initiative, CHAID. She's the State Coordinator, White Ribbon Alliance. She's a human rights activist, a very vibrant, charismatic youth leader, and she's going to be joining us via Zoom today. Comrade Obakina, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good
Thanks,
afternoon.
Daisy, for always having me. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
it's my pleasure. The last
Thank
time we
you.
talked, you were in one mission somewhere in Abuja. It's good to have you on the show. And then I have another
Thank
amazing woman with me in the studio. Her name is Angela Ijoma Obu. She used to be with a foundation I know, the Iyamo Global Foundation, but currently she's the PRO for Stand Up for Women's Society. She's a renowned lecturer. She's a practicing school social worker. She's currently with Benson Idausa University. It's such a delight to have you here.
Thank you so much. A
It's good
pleasure
to
is
see
mine.
you.
Thank you.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about the future of the girl child.
Yes.
And I will be starting with Comrade Grace because she's quite far, just in case we have connection issues and she has to leave at some point. Now, the future of the girl child is very key. And I want to ask you, with all of these many challenges and issues. In fact, before I ask my question, I think I need to read out the United Nations statistics so far. Now, they said today's generation of girls is disproportionately affected by global crisis of climate, conflict, poverty, and pushback on hard-won gains for human rights and gender equality. They said too many girls are still denied their rights, restricting their choices and limiting their futures. So nearly 1 in every 5 girls that you find today are still not completing lower secondary school, and nearly 4 in every 10 girls you find today are not going to complete the upper secondary school. Then they also said around 90% of the adolescent girls and young women do not use the internet in low-income countries. Meanwhile, their male peers are twice as likely to be online. And then globally, girls aged 5 to 14 spend 160 million more hours every day on unpaid care and domestic work than boys of the same age. And they also claim that adolescent girls continue to account for 3 in 4 new HIV infections among adolescents. That's not all their findings. Nearly 1 in 4 married or partnered adolescent girls aged 15 to 19 have experienced physical or sexual violence from an intimate partner at least once in their lifetime. Okay, that particular statistics is scary. And then they also said 100 million girls are at risk of child marriage in the next decade. I didn't say 1 million, I said 100 million. And now, over the next 10 years, up to 10 million more girls worldwide will be at risk of marrying as children because of the COVID-19 pandemic and all the hungers that came from it. Quite a dire statistics. So, Comrade Grace Obakina, what does a successful future look like for the girl child today, in your opinion? Paint a picture for us.
yeah, in my opinion, the successful future for the girl is one where they have equal opportunity. They feel empowered to pursue their dreams without fear, without limitations, and can contribute to the society as leaders, where they can be innovators and decision makers. It's a future where gender bias will be dismantled and completely, or rather, like we always say, averagely reduced. A future where the girl child will have a safe place to exercise and to have a place to display the vision where she rather has grown to have in mind. For every girl child that is growing in the society, either by the environment where you live in or the people you see, you have a vision of who you want to be, how you want to be who you want to be, and how you want your life to impact your generation. So for me, I want to see the future of the young girls where they will be able to carry out these dreams without any form of bias, where equality will be the order of the day and the responsibility of all, collaboratively from the parents to the society to the religious setting, even to the cultural setting, where everybody will know that for every dream that is dreamed by a girl child needs to give the opportunity to see the day of light. So it's a very dicey situation where we find ourselves. While we are going through the statistics, I had a grips of emotion flow back to me. Not because this is not in the public, no. It's because of by now we have actually thought that with the advocacies we're going through, the sensitization, the awareness that we are pouring each day, each out, there would have been high rate of decrease in this sub change to the girl child. But I know it's not going to be a discouraging factor to us because a day like this is created so that for the young child out there that is going through challenges, he will have reasons to want to push for the society that have excluded young girls in their society, they will have reconscientization because of the awareness that they will be receiving by the reason of this yearly commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child. The uniqueness about this year, I was trying to extray the theme, the girl's child vision for the future. They have a sole responsibility to envision a society that they have carved out. So if they must carve out a future that will be blissful, that will be void of bias, the society they are currently in have a role to play so that the vision they will see is not the one that is detrimental to their life. It's not the one that has given them a wrong orientation, but a perfect vision. Because when the society they are currently living in is the one that is full of violence, is full of hate, is full of intimidation, is full of segregation, is full of, as in placing them as the last option, they will not even have the opportunity to have a healthy vision. So
True.
for the vision to even have a future to live in, the today where they are having that vision has to be healthy for them to have a healthy vision. So for me, it's a word for equality and unbiased mind.
All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Grace. And I'm going to move now to Miss Angela.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to go to the education part of it. The statistics of 1 in every 5 girls not finishing junior secondary school and 4 out of every 10 not finishing senior secondary school is shocking. I went to an all-girls school.
Yeah.
I wasn't even very conscious of the fact that there are boys in schools. We're all girls around and all of that. So when I see these statistics every time, I'm worried, like, are there parents who really would not let their girl child go to school? So what are the key barriers you think are making girls not access education, and how do you think we can overcome them?
Um, Thank you for the question. It's not far-fetched. First of all, I think the set of parents we have in this generation are those who no longer care because of the socioeconomic context we have in the society. I have been in a situation where I had to handle a case, a parent asking the daughter, don't you see what your mates are doing? So you send signal to such a girl to abandon her dream and then go for what makes you happy. And not all girl child would have the courage to face the parent to say, oh, that's not what I want to do. This is what I want. Yeah, because we are coming from the African context where, we are not independent of our decisions and thoughts. That is on one side. However, the government also is not left out of this blame. I don't want to mention states I had to travel to do education projects, and they keep, even stakeholders in education keep pointing back to the government that the budget allocated for education is low. And you find out that in our home front, when education, you have to choose a child that will have to go to school. You say, let the boy go because that one will be our name, will carry on the name of our generation forward. This one is another man's property. As if that stops you being married, stops you from being your father's daughter.
It doesn't.
So this is the problem we are facing. And then the girls too. There's this lack of focus and not being able to place your priority right. So you get distracted at every little stance or every little challenge you get, and you withdraw yourself. That's not what it should be. Yeah. So this limits a whole lot of completing school. That statistics is quite right, because I had a few research done, and it's tallies. So they're not fortunate. Sometimes I think they overblow things here, but then this particular one, yes, they are right from what I have done.
That's so scary, though.
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, Comrade Grace, I knew you ran for House of Assembly at some point, and it hasn't stopped you, winning or not, hasn't stopped you from lending your voices to issues that pertain to women and youths. So I'm going to direct this question to you. How do you see how do I coin this? Okay. How can you ensure that the perspectives of the girl child is included in policy discussions? What would you suggest so that we could have our own perspective included in policy decisions in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you. Yes, like you mentioned, it didn't deter me whether there was a win-win, because at that time, it wasn't about the today, it was more about the impact for the future. And sincerely speaking, we must create opportunity for girls to engage in decision making. Decision making platforms help them to begin to have that sense of responsibility, to want to be accountable at the early stage of their life. And we can do all of this. I know some schools already have, some states already have maybe the youth parliaments. We can start it from the primary schools, run through the secondary schools, up to the universities. Then we have school councils where we can begin to include the girl child. Just recently, we have for the first time a female SUG, and that was very, very, it was an applause, for the girl child. Then we can also have local reforms, where we can have government institutions. They should actively seek out for young girls and females that are very, very dedicated and are experts in particular areas, and begin to give them some notable state responsibility as leaders at their levels. When we begin to inculcate this sense of leadership in them, I will also use the opportunity to speak to the home front. I always say for every topic we treat, I always make this reference back to the home front, because we cannot undermine the role it has to play. So my perspective generally is to see how we can catch them young and begin to involve them at the state and at the local level. Let's create sections and sectors where the young girls will begin to play these roles of leadership. Let them be equipped by the things they need to do to stay afloat in the space of leadership. Let's begin to inculcate ideas of integrity, lifestyle, healthy lifestyle that they need to live, so that come what may, when they become leaders tomorrow, they can Younger ones can look up to them as mentor, just as they have chosen one or two persons that they are looking up to as mentor. Suffice to say that my co-speaker this afternoon, Madam Ijoma, happened to be one of the persons when I got into University of Benin. I applied for public administration, but at that time I didn't get it, and I was given social works, and I was so discouraged. But funny enough, the very first time she stepped into the classroom to teach us introduction into social works, I fell head over heels in love because of her pattern of lecture and how she made us to understand that we can be what we want to be as much as we put our hearts to it. Coincidentally, we are sitting today. I am in the social workspace today. She is there, and I'm looking up to her as a mentor. Yes, it's so funny. But I want every young girl to look around them. Then the other ones should also create that opportunity that will be comfortable enough for the younger ones to access us. Our doors should be open so that when they begin to find interest in the line of leadership, we will not coerce them out of it. The way and manner with which we dish out this mentorship process will not choke them out of the line. So when they begin to get involved at a very early stage, believe you me, in a very short while, we will have a lot of young girls that are interested in the role of leadership. Hence, they will fight every challenge that comes their way, be it poverty, be it cultural norms, be it religious segregation, because they have been enthused and they are passionate about it, they will be able to overcome these challenges and have a voice in the place of leadership.
Student, I would
Former
give
student,
former
yes.
student. I would give anything to be in one of your classes, though.
It's
I would
okay.
want to hear you
Yeah.
teach. You know, my mom is also a teacher. Teachers don't remember all their students, but the students never forget the teachers.
But I didn't keep touch out of this. She always tagged me in everything she does. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about gender equality. You know, yeah.
Do we want to do this? I'm sure Grace will be surprised about what I'm about to say.
You know, the United Nations has advocated for gender equality for such a long time now. They keep talking about it. Sometimes you hear equity, but it's more about equality. And whenever we bring this discussion to the fore, we keep having conflicting ideas and
Yes.
stands. So it's almost as if we can't even just have one voice on it. There's also the issue of feminism that is frowned upon as if it's some sort of advanced witchcraft. You know, that one's also on the side. But what's your stand on gender equality? Should we enforce it more and impact that idea on the younger girls?
I'm going to shock everybody because I have always advocated that we should indigenize some of these policies that the foreigners throw at us. Indigenize it. Our identity and root is still very important as far as I'm concerned. And I think I don't advocate for gender equality. Rather, I'm a strong advocate for gender equity, not equal. I cannot be equal to a man. I don't know how you people sum up this. We are, by structure, different. In every aspect, we are different. So how did you come about a man should equal to a woman? But I am from the opinion that you must see me as a woman who has the ability to do what a man can do. And so you must give me equity. Equity means equal chance of opportunity. If you allow a man to speak, I should have the opportunity to speak. But I should drag a chair with you to say, whatever you do, well, I don't even know how to explain, but there's this, we're not getting it right. And then when it comes to feminism, I always teach my girls, we are missing all this, read the theory very well. We are mixing it up. We are not saying fight a man at every given opportunity. We are saying in a table where issues are being deliberated on, could you just give this chance to a woman to also air her opinion? You know, for every research I have done in Edo State, I go to this community and I say, if you don't bring your women group, for those watching me, they know me, if you don't bring your women group, I will not do this research in this community. Why? Because whatever social problem that affects a community affects these two sexes in different forms and ways. So if we're talking about climate change, I want the men sitting and also want the women sitting so that they will tell us their own perception of how climate change affects them, which I bet you will be different from how it affects the man. So telling me, no, I've been to a community here in Edo where they said, we will talk for the women. And I asked them, what do you know that you want to say? Do you want to tell me how they push or how they flow? I mean,
Or different.
you know, so that's my opinion. So,
But you do know that most of our tradition
yes,
and even religion naturally has a way of suppressing women. So it's even when you want to try to, I don't, we will be given fair chance easily.
we would.
It's
We
really
would, yeah, we would. We would.
without
Starting
having
from
to
the
be
policies.
so loud.
Yeah, starting from the policy. I want to see, I wish this my young lady, I'm very proud of you if you're listening to, of course you're listening
Well, she's
to
still
me.
there.
Yeah, so I wish she had in to the House of Assembly. You can imagine the orientation she already has, what she will do with it. So I think the policymakers, majority are men, yeah, but then let's have this 50-50 chance. You see this, that's the equity I'm talking about. Let's have 50-50 chance for both sexes to bring in policies. And I also want to urge the ladies who are already in power to also bring in ideas as it affects women. Not just, you know, gather everywhere the men go, we go with them. No. Sometimes bring innovative ideas that will solve the issues that surrounds women's vision. Yes, I think that's where we start.
You know, I'm Comrade Grace, you tell me if you're of the same school of thought with Ijoma here, because most of the women we even have in power, in place of position, authority, a lot of them, not all of them, even their ideas sometimes are skewed.
Yes.
I don't know where they get it from. I saw the First Lady bringing our rappers for October 1st, and that's from the federal. Like, okay, we should tie rapper, green rapper, How does that affect the price of fish in the market? How does that put a pot of soup on the table, let my kids eat and be happy? But the story died quickly. The media was not having it funny, and so the story died quickly.
Yeah.
I didn't see much of those rappers on the streets on October 1 because people were even talking about protesting on that day. But are you of the same school of thought about the gender equality and equity thing that we just talked about, Comrade Grace?
Really not surprised when Madam IJ gave her opinion, but very distinctively. If you notice, when we carry out a lot of awareness and sensitization on gender equality and feminism, we have almost all the time educate women how to avoid mixing up the word feminism and gender equality. Honestly, feminism is a movement of its own with a clear definition separate from what we understand as gender equality. Then it is on the continuous study of gender equality that we also discover that it will be unfair if we are pushing for gender equality without gender equity. Now, the clarity here is when the word gender strikes, 95, almost 95%, my statistics, so not the nation published, of persons always raise their mind to the women folk. And this is very, very not correct. Talking about gender equality, we are talking about a space where a result is desired. And the person that is supposed to make that result happens, be it a man, be it a woman, they should have a fair level playing ground. That is equality. So we are saying for a family that have resources, if it is possible for them to fly boats, they should. But where it is one person that needs to go, the person that will best carry out that money, not to be wasted as a student, should be allowed to be schooled. That is equality. We are talking about a situation where a leader is needed to be elected, and the characteristics of the female has been shown in the public domain, and that of the man supersedes the woman, or that of the woman supersedes the man, whoever best will carry out this result promptly and aptly should be given the opportunity. That is equality. Then when we are talking about gender equity, in a society where support, help, intervention is about to come in, we are not saying because I am a woman, the people I am going to that community to empower should be women. That is not equity. If in that particular empowerment, we are going to distribute farm produce, and statistics showing in that community state that men are more farmers than women, irrespective of our sex, we should empower the men the more, as in giving resources to the highest number or the best person that is fit for that game. I don't know if I'm being able to make any sense out of this definition. I am a strong advocate of gender equality, because if I understand that in a space where the finance of a home is best managed by the woman that goes to the market, that knows there will be savings, that will save for the rainy day, that knows how to buy, the finance should remain in her hand than somebody or the man who will go out and will not be able to say no to his friends when they demand to buy drinks or demand to eat chicken and all of that, forgetting that the children have not eaten at home. The equality in that home should be where necessary, the woman should run that finance because she is best capable to manage. Now, I
I think
cited
I'll
this
pause you there.
example not to undermine
I'll
conclusively. I just want to let us know that the idea of gender equality is not to downplay the role of men. Like we always tell our women out there, you can never change the original creation of God to have the sex male and the female. And when God says the man should be the head of the home, we are not dragging shoulders. We are not fighting your position. We are only saying, if I am best at managing a particular thing, allow me manage it, not because I am a woman, because I will yield more results. So for gender equality, our awareness and sensitization will continue so that we will reconscientize the mind of the society that it is not in contest, neither is it to downplay anyone, but just to have an equal voice to be able to raise a campaign to achieve a good society and a safe environment for both the children, the father, the mother, the boy child, the girl child, and the society at large.
said your voice,
Yeah,
your
I
mind.
think she covered up there.
Okay, so I'm going to be directing these personal questions to both of you. So,
Yeah.
but you start first.
Okay.
Are there older female role models that have inspired you, and how much of an impact have they really had in your vision? Plus, while you're telling us about your personal encounters, you'd also tell us ways the older generation can mentor and support the ambitions of younger girls.
Yes, I have quite a lot of them. From childhood, I looked at one of my neighbors. She was always driving so many cars, and
Oh,
then
wow.
yeah, and then my father had an interview with her in my presence. I was still in secondary school. He said, ah, she has the masters, and my father looked at me. He kept quiet. Okay, and after all her narrations, she left. My father said, "Would you like to have masters?" I shook my head because I felt that
That was what will
masters
make you have the cars.
and we have the cars. So, and then later I heard she was working in Shell and all those and all that. So I kept the struggle on. I felt it is time for me to strike a deal with my future. And that was why I was talking about distractions and focus. And then I grew up, I started hearing people like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And of course, my respected Professor Dora Akunyele. And I said, God help me. I shall surpass these people. And all the mentors around me, Professor Okoye, they just kept fitting into the vision. And when I feel like I'm tired, they blow this kind of air. Look, you can't be tired under my watch. You just can't. However, apart from the female, I also had male, mentors who also said, you won't go that way. Come back like this. So putting all this together, I won't deny the fact that mentorship is a very, very important path to tread in realizing our vision as girl child. And I want to encourage women who, I still see young girls who have saloon, big ones, or bakeries, and they still say, okay, if you're a lady and you want to learn,
Yeah.
this has been your dream, but you don't have the money to,
Scholarships.
yes, you can come over and you just learn.
Yeah.
That is the way to go. Don't see people as competitors, all right? I like, what she's doing now. I'm very proud of her. I can stand tomorrow and say, oh, I trained this person, or she was under my voice at a stage in her life. And I'm very glad that she said, the voice inspired her to continue whatever she was doing. And I know I have so many of them out there. So this is what it's supposed to be. Impact. Create, if you can't run that vision to the end, make sure you create room for others who will help you take your vision to that very place you want to see it get to. So mentorship is
It's very key.
outrightly.
It's all right. Comrade Grace, have you had female mentors that have helped shape your person today? And what role does mentorship really play for these younger girls?
Okay, firstly, without missing words, the first person I looked up to in my life happens to be my mother. Now, this was not because she was my mother. I grew up meeting her as a teacher, and for every time they tried taking her away from primary five, primary four, she always declined. So one day I asked her, I said, why? She said, you see this stage of life, it either reforms or deforms your interests. So she takes it as a duty to nurture every child that comes her path from that age. So by the time they get into primary six, their lives have started reforming. I had a very slow and poor reading culture while I was growing up. And when I will feel a bit tucked in, if I'm not able to do what I'm supposed to do, my mom will always call me. He said, do not allow your today to define your tomorrow, because what you desire to tomorrow, you sit up on it today. So her words of encouragement and coming back to the classroom, having her as a teacher, they really set me on a path. While I left the primary section to be I'm more influenced, but how to reflect this decision are more of my responsibility. I started looking out. I had a teacher when I was in secondary school who was a very strong support system to me. All she did was she allowed to express my areas of specialties. And when I began to, she noticed I was very good in the acts. In fact, I had always thought it would be a mass communicator. But unfortunately, I am not a mass communicator today, where I have to speak to change the mind of people. So growing into the business world, the likes of Grace Osakwe, I have a co NGO owner who happens to be Priscilla Osiobaifo. I am picking people within my space because when I see what they do, how they do what they do, it inspires me a lot. So when the challenges that faces us in this space of our job comes my way, I will say, no, this person is making it because there is a way out of every challenges. And these have been pushing for me. And like I did mention, when I came into the social works field, I had the likes of Madam IJ, then of course Professor Okoye that she mentioned. After so many years we met and I reminded her of how she put tires on my leg. And I began to run even in the places where I should be working. Of course, everybody wants to have a stake in the society. Hence, we pick one or two other persons whose lifestyle we want to pattern after their process of success. Necessarily not their private life, but the way they have achieved in the space where they are. And that has always been. Mentorship cannot be underemphasized. No one can ever underemphasize the importance of mentorship. For every young girl that has a future to live in and have a life to look back to and say, I am glad I took this space, it needs someone to mentor them. So, like my dearly auntie had mentioned, I want to reemphasize. In our spaces, I tell people that comes my path, if after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you can't reproduce your kind, don't call yourself so much a success. Do not call yourself a success. You should be able, within your space of environment, within your space of religious setting, within your space of society work that you do, you should be able to represent your someone that if you're not there today, they will say you live in this person. And that is mentorship. And kudos to all those who have given their time, giving their finance, giving their effort to mentor the lives of young girls. So that when we are in a society where we think that we are giving it up for what we see young girls do today, some of us are still very much encouraged and happy that in the multitude of girls that we think are deranged, there are some that are still very proudly who they are, and they want to remain who they are forever, irrespective of the pressure. So mentorship is very, very important and key in determining the future of the young girls.
You know, she said something about her mom being a major role model.
Yeah.
I remembered when I was pregnant for my first baby. One day I just woke up and I'm like, I want to resign. I just want to stop working.
You're going back tradition.
I want to sit at home and just be a full-time housewife. I didn't know this was so difficult. And then I called my mom and told her about it as, how did you have 5 children? I can't do this. And she was like, if I had stopped working when I was
Some of us
pregnant
have
with you,
9.
would you have been the way you are now? So I picked up my bag and I came to work, and we've gotten used to it now.
Well, I think both of you are fortunate. You had a mother figure coming.
Oh,
So you
wow.
see, I always mention my father.
Yes,
Yeah, so
exactly.
he was both together. So he
Oh,
kept doing the bit he could do. And so for so many out there who don't actually have a
a
mother figure,
mother.
Have mothers.
there are so many mother figure you can come across depending on the vision you have. You can see somebody like that aunt wasn't actually related to me, but was just a neighbor, but doing well. And I was like, this is the kind of woman I want to be. An independent woman. I shouldn't carry all my bills and give to a man because he's called a husband. No. I should also be his help, as our religion rightly said. So your independency does not mean you should intimidate your partner. It is saying that you
At
should be
all.
a help to the partner. But well, that's another
That's
topic
another
to
story
topic
for another day, because a lot of women who make a lot of money,
you don't try it.
they find it very difficult to submit. But
Yes.
we will discuss this another
Another
time.
day.
Okay, so let's talk about the role society has to play to make
Yes.
this whole environment safer for women. Women do go through a whole lot.
A lot.
From sexual abuse to forced marriage. You can just marry just about anybody to bring money to the family. You're exchanged. Even our tradition, we just go through so much.
Yes.
So what role do you think communities, how can communities work together to make it a safer space for these young girls to grow and thrive?
One, if the community leads or heads can help to report every case of oppression, rape, intimidation against the girl child. Also, we also have for the male child. I don't like being biased, but since it's girl child days, I'm going to focus there. Because within a sphere of time, I know recently there was a report case of guys raping in a particular street in Edo State. Yes. And when I was called into the issue, I went to the community head, and when they called them Odion, and I said, oh, so you people know this person. Are you actually waiting for him to launch an attack on you? So I think the justice system in our society today is somehow. So you don't cry for justice for somebody else except the issue is directly affecting you, which is a very bad character. I thought the right thing to do is to immediately take justice for the person you don't know to avoid that situation coming, hitting you directly. I thought that was commonsensical. However, if we can have this settled, then also pinpoint a kind of punishment for any parent who relegate the girl child to the background. There is a saying that it is not only the parent that owns a child. Otherwise, kill your child and let me see if you will go scot-free. After all, it's your own. But because that child is not meant for you alone. That is why when you kill that child, there will be people coming after you. So the community heads should also make sure that parents are put in check. They are parents to the children, but you are a head over them, both the parents and the child. So what happens to the child is also the community head's business. And so when you see a girl child smoking and trying to go wayward, call the parents of that child on check. If this child continues like this, I will report you. There's so many agencies, so many NGOs, all right, which I know numerous of them, and I'm part of the family of NGO.
Yeah.
Yes, so you can report to us, and we'll take that from there. Because we're trying to sanitize this. If we sanitize the society, the vision of the girl child will be clearer. Now, when we come to government, I don't understand what is happening to the education system. But I feel that we should also sanitize the education system. Like you said, you went to an only girls school. I also went to an only girls school. And that gave us the opportunity to share ideas as girls. We were now, I don't know about this generation, but then it was like a competition of how many novels have you read? Pesetas, meals, whatever. And we kept going like that. Those were our discussion. And how many days and how many hours you could use to read and be able to, comprehend what you read. And that is why we are where we are. But then we cross our legs as individuals, as mentors, as friends to these girls, and we allow them go astray. How then do we hope that they will reconnect back to their vision? It becomes a problem. So we all have stake, not just the community, not just the government or parents, even you as an individual. There was a day I took public transport, and then inside the bus, I saw a girl dressed in nets. All her, was just, as if she was selling something. So I now quickly just decided that, please, the young man sitting beside her should sit where I'm sitting. I want to have a chat with her. The manner you approach a girl child determines if you're going to kill her confidence,
kill her, conscience and all that. So let us have a manner of addressing this girl child so that you can win them to yourself and then know the problems that are affecting. She's not okay mentally. She's reacting to something. You think she doesn't like you, you go by her the way you dress, but then she's sending a signal, and that signal, we are ignoring it. So I now said, my dear, is it that you don't have clothes or you are going for a party? She kept quiet. I said, no, the reason why I'm saying, because I know that if you are dressed a bit, corporate, whatever party you are going for, you will stand out. Then she now looked at me. She said she went to see her boyfriend. And your boyfriend likes you like this. Now that's also, you see why I said friends are also inclusive in this reformation. If you have a friend, permit me to use the word boyfriend, who loves seeing you naked, your vision is far from you. And I think you should excuse such persons in order for you to see clearly where you're going to. Which other boyfriend will want a girl he is associated with to wear nets and all the chest, everything is showing through you can see everything through the net. It means the person does not have your vision at heart. So it is not just, I don't like mentioning government. I feel that in this society where we are at now, it is now individuals. I've not totally lost hope on government, but my hope for them is 15%. So the remaining 85% goes to all of us. If we do our assignments well and we know the tax, government will fit into our vision. That is what it is in high-income countries. The individual play more role than the government. The government have no choice but to now put their policies and plan to fit into what they see that is trending. So let us change the trend to suit the girl vision.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that girl, men are actually very possessive and jealous. They would want to protect what is theirs. If the man is not securing you and letting you expose your wares like that, that's a problem.
Yes.
That's a problem. The celebrities you're seeing online with those clothes, they drive in cars. They don't enter public transport. All right, so this is on a final note, so we could go in very few sentences. To both of you, what advice would you give to girls who feel discouraged about their future? Comrade Grace, in very few sentences.
Get ready for the most anticipated event of the year, Miss ITV Nigeria Beauty Pageant.
Get your form now on the payment of 5,000 naira only at ITV and Radio Corporate Office, Glasshouse, Airport Road, Benin City, or at ITV and Radio Communication Village, Igwosal, Luku, Benin Lagos Expressway, Benin City, or number 10 to 11 Nikita Avenue, ITV and Radio Communication Complex, Mpape Hill, Abuja, FCT, or Purely Events Modeling Agency.
And be able to fulfill their lives the way they want it to be. Do not give up, because until you give up, then the world will give up on you.
Grace and Madam IJ, your advice.
I want to say to my fellow girl child, the journey has never been easy, and it won't start being easy. But with the strength inside of you and the resilience that you have, the sky is your starting point.
Thank you so much to both of you. I've had a swell show today, and I just want every lady out there to know that girls are breaking barriers. They are breaking boundaries. They are breaking stereotypes, and they are doing so well. So whether even girls with disabilities are doing great things. See our Paralympics, they are making us so proud. So don't feel like you are the only one standing on your own. Don't feel marginalized. We can keep pushing, don't be discouraged. Look at the ones who have broken the barriers, and don't limit the reason to their success because their family helped them. People have worked hard and they've achieved. Focus on those ones. Dream to become like those ones, and then we'll all be better for it. Thanks a lot for being with us on the show today.
Thank you.
I will be seeing you next week exactly 1:30 p.m. Have a great day.